everyone and welcome. No. Hello everyone, it's James from Keeping It Anime. And today, well, I'm wearing a bit of a weird attire because I was just about to head out. And then I found out, / remembered, that the Season 3 premiere of Bungo Stray Dogs has just been released. And you know what? This was a brilliant episode. And I know I say I was in a weird attire, but, you know, it's all about the Port Mafia. And having a weird hat like this and smart looking coat, it kind of fits. Anyway, we start the episode off but with a bit of pretext. We're told that the events of this episode is based on a 1 year sort of beforehand of the events known as Dragon's Head. And if you haven't watched the film Dead Apple, then you might want to consider watching that before you start this season, because I know that Season 3 is going to tie in to one of the villains in that film. But anyway, we start this episode off with our main gravity boy, Chuuya. And he basically takes apart an entire plane and claims that he wants to destroy the Port Mafia. So that already sets him up as being a villain at this time. And it's worth noting that this is so far in the past that he is actually 15 years old during these events. So yes, he's still technically he is a teenager at this point still. And so is Dazai. Which leads me to the next thing. We actually go into a scene after this where we see yet again Dazai trying to kill himself by mixing 2 different types of medicines together so he can die peacefully. And you know, that's his whole gimmick if you've seen this series, but it still makes me laugh every time he attempts it. And he's talking to the head of the Port Mafia that we currently know as at this moment in time. And we actually see how he becomes, you know, in the position that he is in now. The head before him actually was ill. That's the story they're going with. And he basically, as a doctor, offed him and said that it was his final wishes for him to become the next head. And Dazai was the witness. And they go into a whole sort of scene where they talk about, since Dazai is a suicidal maniac, and you know, he wants to die, what's the point in him it makes him the perfect accomplice, because if anyone tries to interrogate him, you know, he'll happily comply with it because he wants to die. Something like that. So that was a really bit of interesting dialogue. And then we skip to basically a conversation where we find out that the head, or the former head, is actually still alive somewhere. Basically, he's come back from the pits of hell. And it's up to Dazai to basically go off and find out more information. And when he does, he runs into a guy that tells him that the Port Mafia currently has 3 organizational enemies. One of those, basically I'm going to put these up on the screen because I'm going to butcher the names horribly. But I'll give them a go. So we've got the GSS, which that's all the abbreviation we're told. Tanazakiai. I probably butchered that. And the King of Sheeps, known as Chuuya. That's his nickname that he's got in this sort of episode. And this sort of like flashback or, you know, pretext, whatever you want to call it. And then straight after finding out this bit of information, Chuuya comes in and attacks Dazai. And I'm not going to lie, at this time, when first watching this, I actually thought that Itagawa has actually come in. But now that I think about it, Itagawa basically would be like, 10 at this point? So he'd be way too young. Because remember, he's about the same age as Anna Takashi, the main protagonist. And he's kind of... he admires Dazai at the beginning, so I doubt he would have attacked him this early. So yeah, that's a bit of an oopsie on my part, but it would have been nice to have seen him. Anyway, it's Chuuya. Chuuya's great, and basically he wants to start a fight with Dazai. He gives him the option to either die without telling him information, or tell him information and die. And what does he want information on? Well, I'll put the name up on the screen again, but let's go at it, shall we? Arakabaki. Arakabaki? basically, Arakabaki, as we find out, is basically the beast god Arakabaki of Black Flames. This is a new concept to us within this series and franchise, but essentially we're in an area at this current time where it has been repopulated and people have tried to make a new village out of it. And the reason why that is because a soldier was captured a long time ago and interrogated by the people in the series, and his rage and anger summoned forth Arakabaki of the Black Flames and basically engulfed the whole area in a massive explosion. And this basically ties in to how the former head of the Port Mafia is back and walking around the place. But anyway, we actually get a really good fight scene between Chuuya and another Port Mafia member who I've forgotten the name of. I do apologise about that. But this fight, much like all the other fights that Chuuya is in, is super fun and certainly does not disappoint. I love the way they make his character very smart in the way that he moves and uses his ability of gravity control. I don't know, it's a cool concept and it's a very fun ability, in my personal opinion. So after this, Chuuya does indeed get captured and is talking to the current head of the Port Mafia and is basically blackmailed into joining them and helping Dazai with his investigation. And right off the bat, it's very nice to see just how poorly those two got on at the start of their working relationship. Like, if you look at the current series now, and in Dead Apple, then you know that they're quite sort of friendly towards each other, and they have that sort of rivalry. It's more of a rivalry than a hate. But this is kind of flipped over to that, as to where it's more hate than a rivalry at this moment in time. Like, they're both young, immature teenagers, and they both like to put each other down, even though they're pretty much the same age. I don't know, I just love the whole concept behind that, and I just found it fascinating and fun to see how, their partnership bloomed and is what we know as it, and just how rocky it was when it started. So that's basically the main gist of this episode. After all, the episode ends where we're supposedly going to meet this guy for an interview who survived one of the explosions created by Arakabaki and supposedly this former head of the Port Mafia. And before we get there, we actually find out the building that they're going to explodes. And classic Chuuya just rushes in and wants to fight whoever he sees. And then basically the episode just ends there. So it's leading us open for the next episode. And that's super fun because I really, really did enjoy this episode. It had so much energy in it. It had a very cool concept inside it introduced. And you know what? I know I said it, but it was just a load of fun, and I'm glad they went with it. A little bit confusing at the start, but once it kind of panned itself out and explained itself, then you just get lost in the actual episode. Animation-wise, classic animation from Bungo Stray Dogs, but I do have to criticise it a tiny bit, because there was a few shots, especially of Chuuya and Dazai, where their faces kind of just went blank. Like, you have the hair colour and you have the skin colour, but no sort of facial features, especially on the panned out sort of views. So that's a little bit disappointing, but you know what, as first episodes go, this was a fun, great episode. Now, character design wise, since it's based in the past, I do really like the character designs. Mostly Chuuya's character design. He's quite a rough ragtag type of character, and we know him to be that type of character. But his design here was just great. Brilliant. Dazai, he's strutting his main coat that we always see him wear when he's based in the Port Mafia, and he's covered it in bandages and braces. With the arm, sling, however you want to pronounce that, or, whatever word you want to use with it. and that was really cool. Classic Dazai, classic Chuuya, and the current head, as we know, of the Port Mafia was rocking his evil coat. So yeah, we didn't really get introduced to any new characters as such, just new versions of the characters that we know and love. And like I said, I loved this episode. It was great, and I'm happy the series is back. Music-wise, I didn't hear much music, but the sound effects were really nice as well. So, if you haven't seen this episode yet, then hopefully this video has kind of raised your attention to the fact that Season 3 is now underway and is out. It looks like it'll be out every Friday on Crunchyroll, so look forward to that, because I'll be reviewing each and every episode that comes out about Season 3. But that's going to do it for this review. If you've liked the video, smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new, so you never miss a video from me. But until next time, guys, keep it anime, and I hope you have a great day. Well, what we're going to do? Threaten to break their legs? I mean, I'm wearing a gangster's outfit, kind of, yeah? Oi, oi, oi. If you don't do that, I'm going to break your legs. I don't know. Anyway, oh.